Hello and welcome to Baldy Tim's Reviews, and we are continuing on with this bedroom refurbishment, and we've got to another exciting stage. All the prep work's been done, all the woodwork's been painted of a nice bright white, so it's looking really good. So we're now looking at getting some paint on the walls at long last. So we've got a nice kind of light grey colour to go on 3 walls, the one just here behind me, and the one that the window's on. And so I'm going to do those 3 today. Probably a couple of coats will be required, maybe even 3, we'll see how it goes. The wall at the bed head, which I'll show you in a minute, I can't really paint that. I was hoping I'd be able to sort of paint all 4 walls, but if you see on my kind of previous videos, that wall there was the roughest one, and I was hoping that by the time I got some undercoat on it, it'd be kind of smoothed out enough to paint, but it's not. So what we've decided to do is to wallpaper that one wall and make it a nice feature wall. So I've got some lovely kind of glittery wallpaper on order. Should be delivered in a few days, and I'll do another video at that point showing the wallpaper inside of it. But for today it will be just painting the other 3 walls. So let's get on and start that now. So just to recap, in the last video we did the wardrobe doors there, the new ones, and we're really happy with those. As you can see, I've now painted the surrounds, so we've used some Satinwood paint, and well, first of all undercoated them, then used some Satinwood paint. So that's been done. I've done all the skirting boards all the way around, door and door frame. So door and door frame there has all been done as well in the Satinwood paints. So it's all looking lovely and smart. And also all the skirting boards all the way along. So if you've been watching this video series, you'll recall that I've done the walls, undercoated the walls, put the new window in there a few weeks ago now, and that's the wall that I was talking about that's a bit rough at the bed head end of things, and we're going to wallpaper that. So I'm not going to be doing that today, so I'm going to be sort of putting the top coats on that wall there, and then just this little bit of wall here, and that's all I've got to do. So it's not a lot. 2.5 litres of paint will cover that amply. So I'm going to be making a start very shortly. Okay, before we make a start, what I thought I'd do is just show you all the equipment I'll be using today, or have been using. So starting from this end, we've got that little roller on a long handle, which is my rad roller. It's a very handy tool for getting behind this radiator I've got to paint behind. So I'll show you that when I get to that stage. Got my brush there for cutting in around the sort of door frames, and between the sort of wall and ceiling we have to have a nice sharp line. Then main roller for doing the walls. And then this is like my paint tray. It's got like 2 sections, the main section for the paint, and then a little one at the back here for putting the roller in when you're not actually painting. But the beauty of these sort of buckets is that you get these inserts like that, which just drop in. And the benefit of that is when you get to the end of the job, you can just take that out and sort of throw it in the bin. Yeah, so it's a really good sort of paint bucket, paint tray thing to use. And then moving over to the paints, you've got this stuff, kind of Zinssners 123, the blue stuff, because it also comes in red and yellow as well. and that's what I use for my undercoat on the woodwork, like that. And then for the top coat I use this Johnson's Trade Professional Satin Finish Brilliant White, which is the oil based one. They also do a water based one, but I always think water based paint for woodwork is a bit weird. You see a little bit too much in the way of brush marks, whereas this kind of just seems to go on smoother. It's a bit harder to use, and it's a bit harder to sort of treat your brushes and everything than water-based paints. But the thing in the background, that's another good product. It's this Brushmate Trade 4 Plus, and it's actually a brush storage when you're using oil-based paints. Instead of having to clean your brushes out in sort of white spirit all the time, you just plonk them in there, and then you get these pad things here, pad insert things, which you have to replace about once every 6 months, and that then kind of keeps the brushes from kind of drying out. As you can see here, and this window board's not the greatest, it's a bit lumpy and bumpy, but as far as the paintwork's concerned, it's gone on really, really nicely. This is the paint we're going to be putting on the walls. So it's Dulux Trade Vinyl Matte, and I don't know if you can quite see it there. Grey Wisp is the colour, which is like a light grey, probably not too far different from the colour, this colour on the tin. Now, Dulux Trade is a fantastic quality paint. It's what I use all the time, and it's expensive. It's way more expensive, or quite a bit more expensive than kind of the B&Q and Wick's own brand stuff, and the Brewer's own brand stuff, and even the Dulux retail stuff. Because there's definitely a difference between Dulux Trade and Dulux retail, and people tend to think, well, you know, paint's just paint. But it's not all paint's created equal, and if you get the wrong stuff, you can be there forever putting coat upon coat upon coat, and you still don't get the coverage. Yeah, and a nice solid coverage, whereas this stuff is fantastic. You can often get away with, or almost get away with, just one coat, and certainly by the time you put the second coat on, it's really, really good. Anyway, let's run through the materials. So I'm going to get some of this paint into this paint tray and get started on the walls. Okay, so it's time to start painting this wall. So I've got my trusty roller. You saw me pouring some paint in, so let's get going. Let's see what this paint looks like. Ooh, that's going on quite nicely. Oh yeah, it's going on very nicely and smoothly. So when you're rollering, you want to sort of almost do a W pattern, sort of like that. Not just straight up and down or straight side by side, but try and do a W as much as you can, and going not all the way into the edges, but yeah, maybe to within an inch or so of the edges. But I'll be finishing those off, of course, with my brush in just a little while. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this paint colour actually. It's not bad at all. I was a little bit worried actually that being grey, it would sort of darken the room down because I've kind of got used to this white undercoat over the last few weeks. It really has made the room beautifully light and airy. So if the grey colour had been a bit too dark, it would have ruined that a bit. But no, this is pretty light, so I'm happy with that. So that is that whole wall section kind of rolled now. Okay, I know it's not a very big section, but it's literally only taken me, well, not even 5 minutes, probably 2 or 3 minutes to do the whole lot. Maybe slightly longer, because I'm sort of doing all this sort of filming as well. But I've now got to cut in around the edges, so I'll show you how I do that in a bit more detail when I get onto that wall, but I'll just give you a bit of an overview on it now. This is where you've got to be pretty careful, especially on the first coat, because I don't want to sort of dab any paint onto my freshly painted ceiling or my sort of freshly painted woodwork over this side. So it's just a question of working along carefully like so. That's that top bit done. Just come down the sides. Okay, that is the first coat on. So from top to bottom, all cut in round the sides, and top and bottom as well. So cutting in not too bad. Unfortunately, the ceiling itself is a bit bibbly and bobbly, which makes it quite hard to get a nice sharp line on your cutting in. I've done a bit better on the side there because that's all brand new, of course. But I don't think I've done too badly there. So what I'm going to do is have a little bit of a change around and get started on this next wall. Before I do that, another little tip is when you're doing your skirting boards, if you are changing your carpet, what you can do is get a very, very sharp Stanley knife, and obviously be very careful with it with a sharp blade. Cut away your carpet, only an inch or so. You keep the rest of it in place until it's time to have the fitters in to give you your new carpet. But what this does is it just makes painting the skirting boards so much easier and faster, and also better because you can sort of get the new paint all the way down to the bottom rather than just to the top of the carpet. So it's just a little tip there for you, and I've done that all the way around this room. So that's that first little section of wall done on the first coat at least. So I'm going to make our way over to this second wall here from the edge of the door going all the way down to the corner there. So I've got the camera a bit higher up now as well, so you can see me sort of painting this and also cutting it in at the top. Yeah, it really is covering beautifully, this paint. I'm very happy with this stuff. Very, very happy with this Dulux Trade. Okay, I've just been cutting in around these sockets and switches with the brush, but after I've done that I like to just go as close as I can into there, just to sort of smooth out the sort of brush lines or brush marks. Just as you can't get rid of them all, but you can get rid of quite a lot of them. So just like that. Maybe I'll just go down the edges there as well. So it's just another little thing I like to do. So yeah, getting on really, really nicely. So just done up to that kind of corner there. So I just got to go down that wall there into that sort of far corner. So I'll get on with that now. But there's not much in the way of sort of obstructions down that section. So it should be done quite quickly, I'd have thought. Okay, so that is that section of wall done. Only took me about 5, 6, 7 minutes. Not very long at all with the roller. By the way, the roller that I'm using and the sort of tray bucket thing as well as most of my brushes and pretty much all of this stuff really is all from tool wise is all from the Johnson's Decorating Centres, their Fat Hog range, which I mentioned before in previous videos. So they all seem to work well, do the job, and reasonably good quality. So I can highly recommend those. So let's get on with the cutting in here along the sort of ceiling. It's always a tricky thing to do. This is how I do it. So first of all, you need a good quality brush. Don't try and use these cheap things that cost about £1 or £2 from B&Q, because they just won't work. So that's the first little tip. Get yourself a decent brush and then get it loaded up. And then what I like to do is just kind of work the way up. And to get it started, I've got to go into the corner and then make sure you've got plenty of paint on the brush as well. Load it up, and I would like to work my way up, and then when I've got to the point, I just go along, hopefully try and go along at least a foot into the corner there, and then just do this bottom bit underneath and work along. So working up into the corner, and then along we go in that kind of motion there. And yeah, just got another 6 inches to do. There we go, that's cut in. And as you can see, it's not too bad. It's got a fairly straight line on it. Yeah, it's quite a nice sharp line. So yeah, pretty happy with that actually. Let's just get another shot along here. Of course, when you've got a light colour onto the ceiling, it's a bit easier. So when you've got your dark colours, if this had been dark grey, any little imperfection really shows up. So all we've got to do now is this wall behind me. It's a little bit more fiddly. It's going to take considerably longer than this wall you just saw me doing. So I've got to paint round, well, actually paint these curtain pole battens, then round the window, round the radiator as well. So it's going to take a little while. So I guess the sooner we start, the sooner it will get done. Right, this so this bit at the top here is a bit fiddly. It's a bit too fiddly to do with a roller, so I'm going to do a lot of it just with a brush, as you've seen me doing there. And it's no bother because I can then do the cutting in as well at the same time. Okay, so got to the point where I've got to just go around the window, so I'll roller it where I can and then finish off with the brush and cutting in around the edges. By the way, cutting in around the edges of the window and the windowsill and the door frames and the skirting boards is exactly the same process as what you saw me doing at the top there. So against the ceiling, so you just use exactly the same technique on everything. Right, finish off with the brush. Really happy with the window, by the way, that we did the other week. We've had some really cold weather since, and it seems to be quite a bit warmer in here with this new window than it was with the old one, because it's new anyway, so probably the standards are better than they were sort of 25-30 years ago, even though the old one was double glazed. But also these sealed units are actually thermal as well, so they reflect the heat back in, whereas the old ones we had were just sort of normal glass. So yeah, there definitely is a noticeable extra bit of warmth.
Okay, we're very nearly there on the first coat, all the way around these 3 walls. Pretty much all I've got to do now is just literally this bit here around the radiators. So I'm going to be using this rag roller, which you dip into the paint bucket just the same as the big roller. So I've got a bit of paint on there ready to go. So all you do is just poke it down behind and just roll it in the normal way, and you sort of try and get it down there as far as possible. I don't have to go down too far with this one because as I was saying in my first video, I've only taken the old wallpaper off sort of down about 6 inches down here, so it really only need to go 6 inches down, but you can go all that way down if you want. So I'm going to just carry on working my way all the way along here and get this done. Now some radiators, they kind of mount, for some reason they mount them really close to the wall, so you can't even use one of these. So you in that case you just got to get the brush bristles as far down as you can, which will only be about 1 inch down, maybe 20 millimeters to 1 inch down, something like that. But they tend to be on more modern houses, that kind of radiator. These rads here, luckily I've got a good bit of room to get this down, so let's carry on. It would have taken me a lot longer had I just been trying to fiddle with a brush all the way along there, and I wouldn't have been able to get as far down anyway. So investing in a rad roller, again, you can get them from Brewers, B&Q, Johnson's Decorating Centres, Dulux. You can get them everywhere really, so very easy to obtain and a very useful tool, especially if you're doing a whole house and you've got quite a few radiators to paint behind. It will certainly be worth the investment. So just about there. I've just got to go down the sides of the radiators as well with the rad roller, but I won't show you that because it's just more of that really. And then that will be the first coat completed. Now it won't be very long until I can do the second coat. In fact, on some of these other walls, just sort of touch that one that's sort of that way, the second wall that you saw me doing really, and that's already dry. So I reckon by the time I've gone off and had a cup of coffee, come back up, it'll be time for the second coat. So yeah, definitely get it all done today, but I won't show you the second coat because again it's more the same, and it's only painting walls really, and I've given you most of the tips I want to give you. But what I'll probably do is just come back at the end now and show you around the completed job and give you some final thoughts. So there we are, that is the second coat done in the bedroom, and I think it is looking fabulous. We just needed to put 2 coats of the Dulux Trade on, and I think this light grey against the white, it just really pops, doesn't it? It really does look good. So I'm happy with the way that's gone on, and we're sort of all done all around the windows as well, all done there. Don't know if you can quite see it with the light here, but all that's done up there as well. Might look a bit blotchy because I've literally just finished painting that one, but it is looking good. Everything's smooth and flat and just really, really nice. So obviously still got to paper that wall. Got the wallpaper on order, should be coming at some stage over the weekend or early next week, and then at some point next week I'll get the wallpaper on there, and I'll make another video showing how to do that. So all I've got to do now is just wash out my sort of brushes and rollers. This pot looks all very painty, but all we have to do is just take out this disposable liner. And lo and behold, the sort of bucket itself is good as new again. Simple as that. So I can certainly recommend those. I think I got that from the Johnson's Decorating Centre as well. So yeah, it's probably another Fat Hog product, I should think. Yeah, there you go. Roll and Go Maxi from Fat Hog, which is the Johnson's Decorating Centres. So that is the room painted. So I'm really pleased to report now that that is all the painting done on the whole project. Only got a bit of wallpapering to do. And then after that it's just bits and bobs like hanging new pictures, and I'm going to pop a new light up above me there to replace the old thing that's up there at the moment. Might do a video just showing how to change a light over, so that may well be my next video. But yeah, really happy with the way that Dulux Trade paint has gone on. Well recommend Dulux Trade. Yeah, you might have to go to a proper decorating place to get it, like Brewers or yeah, Dulux Decorating Centres themselves. But like I did with this paint, well recommended. But I'll leave it there for today. Be back very soon with another video. So if you like these videos, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, and then that way you'll be told when my next video is ready. But that's been another review from Baldy Tim's Reviews. Thanks for watching.